the guy who has been the architect of the greatest turnaround, certainly in a 2-year period in the history of college football. Curt Cignetti of Indiana is there joining us now. Curt, this morning you wake up, first time Indiana's #1. You keep breaking down all of these barriers, and now you are the top seed in the pursuit for the national championship. What's that been like for you?
Well, process driven, one day, one moment at a time, and then you get in at 5 a.m. and so you wake up and you don't have a lot of time to really think about it. But, you know, it's people, plan, process, really. You got to have the right people, commitment from the top, the right guys in the locker room, assistant coaches obviously do a great job. Got to have a plan and a process, and, you know, without a commitment from the president and the athletic director, Pam Witt and Scott Dolson, this kind of stuff's not possible.
Coach, I said earlier, I don't have the vocabulary to describe just how impressed I've been with what you've been able to do in these past 2 seasons at Indiana. I didn't realize how good your defense was until watching them play last night. Can you speak a little bit about not just the game plan, but the execution you guys put on in that game against Ohio State?
You know, truly, our defense has been top-notch since 2019. Philosophically, we got a way we want to play and attack. Bryant Haynes does a great job. We really played well up front last night, put pressure on the quarterback, stopped the run in the first half. Ohio State scratched out some runs in the second half. But, you know, it was a physical, heavyweight bout. And our defense stepped up, especially in the red area when Ohio State had some opportunities. And, you know, it was a gut check and a great gutty win.
Coach Booger, I've been around a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of confident coaches. The one thing that sticks out to me is your confidence, your boldness, and your team plays that way. Just enlighten us. Where did that come from? How did that start?
It probably sort of evolved through the years of being the leader and having success. And as a leader, you know, what's your vision, what's your expectation, what do you want to portray to the players?
Coach, I remember visiting with you leading up to the playoff game last year, and you had said this team had accomplished so much, but we still have so much more to accomplish. And it feels like you guys learned a lot from that process, that disappointment against Notre Dame. And I know that you guys have really solved all those problems this year. So how did the experience of last year better prepare you to finish the way you finished last night against Ohio State?
Well, if you use failure properly, you're going to come back stronger. And you're looking at Ohio State and then Notre Dame in a college football playoff. And I think that stuck in our guys' crawl, the ones that returned from last year's team over the whole off season. And then we added some new pieces. And then, you know, we cleared some barriers. We beat Illinois when they were 9th in the country, 63-10, go to Iowa, who's a highly, I mean, they're a good football team. And it's a hard place to win at the end, go up to Oregon, they're #2 in the country, get that one done. That was obviously a big step we had to take. The win against Penn State, who was playing really hard under Terry Smith, and they had all the momentum, and win that game the way we did just added to the confidence. So it gave you a lot of confidence in that fourth quarter when it was a tight ball game. We've been here before, and they haven't. And we found a way.
That you did, and you might very well have the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Certainly he will be in the mix. Curt, congratulations on everything. We look forward to seeing you in Pasadena with the Indiana Hoosiers, and you get the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys.
The Ducks playing a home game. That game will be played on Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time. Head coach of the Ducks is Dan Lanning. Dan, second time in this 12-team playoff field. Last year you were the #1 seed, had an extended period of time off before playing in the bowl game. How will you approach this one differently, playing a home game first?
Yeah, one, I think there is a huge benefit to getting an opportunity to play quick. You know, we had this weekend off, an opportunity for our players to recover, get to watch some good football games. But I'm excited to see what Autzen is going to look like with our fans. That atmosphere, I think we all saw how special those moments can be last season as some of those opportunities played out. So we're really excited about the chance to pack Autzen and go play some games.
It'll be the coolest thing ever for you, Coach. It's unbelievable, those home playoff games. You have a remarkably young football team. I mean, it's just guys across the board are puppies, man, and yet they play like seasoned vets. How is it that you're able to instill that type of confidence into a roster that many were starting for the first time this year and several are underclassmen?
Well, it's certainly the way that the season started, but that time and that experience makes you a vet. And
we talk a lot about your quarterback, Dante Mark, but the physicality in which you guys play and run the football, especially from a defensive standpoint, to me, that's been outstanding. Just speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing our team's proven this year, that we can beat you different ways, right? And whether you have a battle against Iowa that finishes 18-16 and it's about the team that can run the ball, or you have a shootout with USC at times. Every phase of our team has really stepped up throughout the year, and our players embrace the physicality that's required to play football at the level you need to play it at. You know, they're excited when they get to put pads on and go out to practice and work, and it's really paid off for us throughout this season.
Coach, because of your success, you have a couple coaches that will be moving on. How have you guys dealt with trying to focus through some of those distractions and having the biggest game of your season coming up in a couple weeks?
Yeah, there'll never be bigger distractions right now in college football than there are right now, with, you know, coaches getting opportunities, with the portal, with the signing day just wrapping up. So there's a lot of opportunities. And then obviously you're under a microscope now with less, 12 teams that are playing for this opportunity. But I think everyone understands, the excitement and the opportunity that exists right in front of us. And every one of these coaches, that's why you come here. And same for players. You come here to create opportunities. And they want to make sure they leave this on the right note. They did a lot of things to help us get in this position, and now it's about finishing it off.
The head coach across the field from you on that opening playoff game, Bob Chesney, will soon be a conference rival as the head coach at UCLA. What do you know about JMU and the Dukes and their program and the challenges that they'll present?
Well, I got a lot of respect for his path to get to where he's at. Obviously those guys have won everywhere they've been. He's worked his way up, which is really impressive. You got to watch a little bit of their team play throughout the season, and then obviously last night getting to see them in action. They obviously have a really good team. They play with each other. They really match that mantra of team mentality. So I know it'll be a fun challenge for us and the opportunity to play against a good team.
Dan, congratulations. Return trip to the playoff. Look forward to seeing the Ducks against James Madison. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
We are pleased to be joined by the head coach at James Madison, Bob Chesney. Bob, I know it seemed as if things were going to go your way after Duke won the ACC championship game. What was it like waiting to see if that was in fact going to happen?
Yeah, we know our whole team was together, and we sat in that room, and you hope that is the case. You feel like you've gotten to this part where you deserve to be part of this conversation, and to be dead last for you guys to save us for the last possible team in there. There was a little bit of emotion, there was a little bit of anxiety coming with it, but it was great when that name finally popped up. Streamers were flying, and our guys were are ready to go.
Coach, first of all, congrats on getting the UCLA job. That's number one. Also, congrats getting JMU to the postseason. Just explain to us a little bit, how will you juggle those two responsibilities that are each great in their own right?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on my way tomorrow out to LA. I'll have a chance to meet with the team and handle a press conference, and I'll be right back on the plane getting back here. By Wednesday, we'll have everything broken down, and we'll have our meetings in the evening, and then we're practicing Thursday, Friday, and then turning around in game week on Sunday. So excited to do all of those things in the immediate future.
Coach, for a lot of people that have not had a chance to watch JMU play, probably until the championship game when you guys just ran the ball like crazy with Knight, what does the country expect to see from you guys in this huge matchup against Oregon? What kind of team you bring to the table?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a confident bunch. I think you're going to see an inspired bunch, and I think you're going to see us continue to attack, every single opportunity that we have. Confident, inspired attack. That'll be our mantra as we go through this. That's been our mantra, up to this point in time. The preparation that these guys deal with every single week, the ability to block out the noise and to just focus on the process and the task at hand, are the things that I watch them do at an elite level. This is a team that's been through a lot, and this is a team that, believes in themselves, and at the same point in time is going to play a physical, tough, attacking brand of football.
Coach, I think it's been fascinating to watch not just your success, but also conversely Indiana's success, and to think how many JMU players ended up at Indiana in last year's run to a college football playoff, several of which are back, and yet they're competing at the highest level. So how has Curt Cignetti's success maybe inspired your guys to say, hey guys, the gap isn't that different. They took a lot of our guys, they're winning against the highest levels of football, and how can that help you against Oregon?
Yeah, I think that you're hitting a nail on the head. I know that a lot of our guys continue to be in great communication with those guys. We cheer for the Hoosiers every single week. Everybody's got their back, from here in Harrisonburg because they played on this field and were part of this program. And those are things that I think every week when we watch them, I think it makes it that much more realistic for our guys to understand that they can play, at that highest level.
Bob, you came up through the ranks and you're about to take another step up to the Big Ten. Now, we were talking earlier about the future and how you evaluate who gets into the playoff and whether teams from outside of the power conferences should have to be ranked at a certain level. Your strength of schedule was something that held you back for a while. You have a unique perspective now. It's pretty easy to say, well, make these guys earn it, should they be there. From your perspective of working at a lot of different levels in football, what's the benefit to making sure that teams like James Madison playing in conferences like that in the so-called Group of 5 or soon to be Group of 6 still are playing for the championship and still are at least in the bracket?
Well, I think it is important. I think that a lot of these guys aspire to that, and maybe they didn't have the opportunity to initially play at that next level, but I think they could still accomplish some pretty special things. And I think when you watch our team and you watch the games we had over the history here when Coach Cignetti was here, beating, all the different Power 4 teams, and then us last year, North Carolina, again this year in a toe-to-toe battle through the fourth quarter with a very good full-power Louisville team at that moment. And then we took care of the rest on our schedule that we possibly can. I think it would be really hard to look a group like us in the eye and say that you're not deserving of this after all the work and things they've done. We can't control our schedule. We can only control, what we do on game day, and I think we handled our business properly.
Game day is coming up in Eugene, Oregon. Great place to play. James Madison, Dukes and the Ducks. That'll be on Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. Bob, congratulations on making the playoff. Congratulations on UCLA. Look forward to watching your team play. On Sumrall and the Green Wave will go back to Ole Miss to take on the Rebels for the second time this year. And the head coach Tulane, soon to be head coach at Florida. I guess already is, but it will be full-time head coach at Florida soon. John Sumrall is with us. John, but let's focus on Tulane right now and the game against Ole Miss. What do you anticipate being different about playing the Rebels the second time as opposed to the regular season matchup?
Well, I anticipate we need to play better. We're going to get our butts kicked. We didn't play very good the first time. Ole Miss, a really talented football team. It was Trinidad Chambliss' second start when we played them. And I didn't see Tulane play that week, to be quite honest with you. It was our worst performance of the year. Some of that had to do with Ole Miss, but a lot of it was self-inflicted. We have to play a lot better football this go around.
Coach, in your title game, you guys were able to create 5 turnovers in that game and jumped all over North Texas. What can you take from that? Is it a confidence, whatever it is, to carry into this game? If your defense plays that way, you got a chance to beat anybody.
Well, takeaways are huge. It's one of our keys to victory every week. It's actually our first one every week. And when we've been on the right side of the turnover margin all year, it's boded well for our success. When we've been on the wrong side of it, it's really cost us. Going +5 last week was a huge part of our success in the game against North Texas. They're a really good football team. We were able to create those takeaways in critical moments. One of them was a touchdown our defense had on a fumble recovery. So, interception, not a fumble recovery, interception. But we've got to make sure we win the turnover margin this game coming up.
Coach Booger here. Congratulations on the Florida job, first and foremost. Having played Ole Miss, I'm sure you went back already and watched that film and dissected that film, not giving away the game plan, but what's a couple of things you say, hey, guys, we have to do X when we play this team again?
Yeah, so I've got my iPad loaded up, getting ready to hop on a plane to go to Gainesville for a couple of days. I'm going to watch that game and a couple other games on the way down probably. The biggest thing I felt like on the perimeter, they out-physicaled us. And kind of manhandled us at times. And that's on both sides of the ball. I thought their DBs were really suffocating in coverage against us. We had a couple of drops that were not characteristic of who we typically are. And then on the perimeter of their offense, we didn't win the 50-50 opportunities in our defensive backfield at times. So we've got to make sure we handle those situations on the perimeter a lot better.
Coach Greg McElroy, man, great to see you. Congrats on everything that you guys have accomplished. Excited to see what you'll do here in the postseason. When I look at at the freedom that your team will likely play with. And you played free, I felt like, against North Texas. Guys, we got nothing to lose. Let's just go shoot our shot and see what happens. That freedom, I feel like if it can carry over into the Ole Miss game, you could have some success with where you guys have grown offensively and defensively. So how do you anticipate kind of harnessing that freedom as if, hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's go tackle Goliath if we're David?
Yeah, we're playing with house money a little bit, right? And so for me, as much as anything, our two setbacks on the year, one of them was obviously the Ole Miss game in Game 4, and then UTSA on October the 30th. Both of those setbacks, I think our guys responded the right way, to maybe what wasn't good performances. And so for us, you only get one shot at this. Have no regrets. Let it all hang out. And enjoy the opportunity, take it all in, give it everything you got, and play together, play as a team, have fun going through this experience. And there's nothing that we're going to do other than give our absolute best effort to this opportunity. And I look forward to watching our guys go compete, man.
John, we know that it's going to be a difficult and time-consuming couple of weeks leading into this, but look forward to seeing your game with Tulane against Ole Miss before heading off to be the Florida head coach and perhaps maybe even going on a longer run with Tulane. Congratulations. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I don't know if you guys caught, but I got my Angry Wave and my Ole Miss helmets right here behind me. One's on top, one's on bottom.
Would those be the lids you wear, the Angry Wave? Those are the ones we're going with in the playoff, you think?
Those are pretty clean. Those are pretty clean right there, bro.
I would say so. That's a good uni game.
Yeah,
that's
really
a low-key good uni game,
no
Tulane
question.
and Ole Miss. John, best of luck, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all. Roll Wave.
You ever think that every now and then maybe the coaches have to figure out, remember when to say roll wave?
Yes.
And then, have to say go Gators?
Yeah. And then right after, no roll wave.
Which one? Who am I talking to? Which team was I talking about? Here is the Protection Spotlight brought to you by Prudential. Oklahoma 21-5. The Palace on the Prairie under Brent and Venables, outscoring their opponents by nearly 18 points per game. They took Alabama apart last year in Norman and knocked them out of the playoff, and they'll get the Crimson Tide again after beating them in Tuscaloosa earlier this year. Brent Venables, head coach of the Sooners, with us right now. I just noticed, too, with the Eagles playing, it's sort of like the Jalen Hurts game, right? You'll probably say roll Sooners at some point leading up to it. Brent, what's it like for you to play a team in the playoff you're very familiar with and you've played them fairly recently?
Yeah, I mean, there's familiarity that they have with us and we have with them. I think you feel like, you have a better understanding of how you match up and what your best matchups are, and then maybe what some matchups are that you got to find a way to get better at those. But there's a comfort knowing who you're playing, but also the same challenge. The quality of the roster, the talent, the coaching, all of those things that you're facing as well.
Coach Booger here. First of all, watching your defensive line has me wanting to come out of retirement. I mean, those guys get after the quarterback. That's number one. Number two, how do you get your offense with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle to kind of play to the level they were playing at earlier in this season, which you're going to need in this playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've said this a lot. I think the strength of our football team is the team. When you put them all together, I think we're number one in the country in special teams efficiency and average starting field position. That matters because I think there's from a complementary standpoint, we've done a really good job of being an efficient football team when it's all said and done. So for us, man, we need to be a better version of that. Take the next 2 weeks, and certainly we had a week of a couple of days where we were able to do some self-scouting and get our players back on the field a little bit. But how good can we be? How much improvement can we make over a 2.5 week period of time? Being a little bit better in a whole bunch of areas adds up to a lot. And we need to offensively, get back to the rhythm and the cadence that we did earlier in the year, make the layups that are there. We've become a more physical football team. We've got 3 guys up front that are all freshmen that have improved incrementally as we've gone throughout the year, and been one of the better efficient running football teams from a yards per rush standpoint in the SEC the back half of the season. That's a good, indicator of the improvement that we've made. And then we've got to get back to creating, the explosive plays. And John is one of the best playmakers in college football. when he's at his best. So try to free him up, but at the end of the day, man, be the most physical team, win the turnover battle, be great like we've been in special teams, and create big plays and field position and the momentum that we've created as a football team going into this game here, a week from Friday night.
Brent, congratulations on everything. It was a spectacular Friday night atmosphere at Notre Dame last year. I'm sure it will be in Norman when we're there as well. Congratulations. Wish you the best in the playoff.
Yeah, appreciate it. Sooner Nation going to be ready, Rece. You don't have to worry about them.
Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get there. Looking forward to it. That's Brent Venables, head coach of the Sooners, as they make their way into the playoff, getting a home game, and across the field from them will be Alabama, led by Kalen Deboer. Kalen, there was a lot of talk after the SEC championship game that perhaps Alabama would be on the outside looking in. How were those last few minutes waiting to see the bracket to see if your team would be in the field?
Yeah, when it's not in your control, there's always anxious times. And so, just really still felt good about what we accomplished all season long. And you just trust that resume, I guess, if you want to call it that, is what's going to, provide the information to help make this type of decision.
Coach, when you look at your last time playing, you guys dominated the game, except in that key area, the turnover area, which is what hurt you guys the last time you played Oklahoma. What do you do now? How do you fix that? What do you take away from that game moving into this next matchup?
Yeah, no, and a credit to Oklahoma. Coach Venables done an awesome job. That's their strength, right? They win the field position. They win the turnover margin. That's a lot of what we've done most games. And, the two games that we faulted in here late in the season, including last night, that was the case. Field position was given up, shorter fields. And in that game, yeah, it was a combination of things. It was turnovers in particular. The one that went for a touchdown was a killer at the time. Our guys kept fighting and kept clawing back. And then just a couple of special teams plays that, in one in particular, our kick punt return at the beginning of the game, that really set them up as well. But every game is its own game. You learn from it. We understand them. They understand us. This third time meeting in just a little over a year. And so, it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be hard fought. I know it's going to be an awesome environment, especially on a Friday night to kick off the playoffs.
Yeah, what a way to start it, Coach. Congratulations. It's Greg McElroy. Looking at the team and the roster, it's a mash unit right now. I mean, with LT Overton, you look at Jam Miller, Josh Cuevas, guys that have been really banged up. So I would imagine it's paramount to get as healthy as humanly possible for a game that'll kick off in about 12 days. How will you be able to handle that? How will you get those guys back on track so that hopefully they can be available there in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, really for the last five, maybe even more, have been very physical games for us. Last night included. That was an extremely physical game. And the last time we played Oklahoma, LSU, Auburn, were all very physical games against very good teams. And so, yeah, for us, we got a couple days here. This will be the biggest gap that we've had, with technically a bye week to prepare. We'll got finals and stuff going on, so the first couple days this week, certainly let the guys take care of business there. And then get back to work. These guys are going to be chomping at the bit. They're going to be able to do everything they can. This time frame right now will allow us to certainly get healthier, though.
Kalen, congratulations on making it into the field and on a strong season. We look forward to seeing you in Norman to open the playoff on that Friday night against the Sooners.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Head coach of the Dogs, Kirby Smart, joins us now. Kirby, we've talked a little bit in the past about the difference between having a home game and having a lot of time before you open in the playoffs. Once again, you guys have the time. How will you approach the time in terms of get ready for the winner of the Tulane Ole Miss game?
Well, it's happened so quick, Rece. I don't know that we've thought all the way through that. The first thing we're going to do is try to heal, recover, final exams, and then take a deep dive at looking in ourselves and maybe see some areas we can grow in. But, it's a long thought process about that. A lot of debate last year. I think none of the teams with byes won, if that's correct. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of thought there, a lot of texting going on between coaches who did it last year, trying to find maybe a better way.
Coach, it seems like you guys are playing your best football with maybe watching the game against Alabama yesterday. Looked like the best Georgia team I've seen. Do you agree that you guys are sort of on a roll right now? Looked like the scariest team in the country to me.
Well, we played well defensively, and we had moments of offense that we sputtered some against a good Alabama defense, but then we picked it up some. So I think we've played complementary football all year. We do have a lot of players getting better. We've challenged our guys to do that, but the problem now is continuing to do that, and that long layoff can get you.
Coach, when I watch your defense, it's Greg McElroy, by the way, man. When I watch your defense, the progress that's been made is remarkable. I mean, guys are now flying around. They're creating a lot of disruption. The pass rush is night and day improved from where they were earlier in the year. So what do you attribute that to, the progress that's been made on the defense side of the ball under Coach Schumann?
Yeah, Schumann's done an incredible job. The staff is the first credit. The players and the buy-in of the young players. And then, Greg, from being in Alabama, there's this thing called cumulative effect that as you do things on your defense throughout the year and you add tweaks and you tweak things, you get better at them because we get tons of reps. So our volume really hasn't increased, but our reps of that volume has increased. So we got a lot of reps in a lot of areas, and I think we're starting to pick up things a little faster.
Kirby, Booger, in a day and age where everybody's going to spread and they're trying to get speed and space, I marvel at how your program remains one of the most physical, if not the most physical in the country. That's your identity, similar to when you and I played against each other 27 years ago when you were at safety. It's funny, though, because you wouldn't hit anybody back then, but even though you want your teams to hit now. So how do you get your program to be so physical all the time, day in and day out?
It's a culture. It's a day of life. It's a way of life. We believe it helps us win in the fourth quarter. When you watch the National Football League and you pattern your game because you want players to come to your program that want to play in a style of offense and defense that they can play on the next level, but a lot of them want to play in those style of offenses. And when it comes down to the playoffs, you have to be able to stop the run and run the ball to win games. There's a lot of style points out there. There's a lot of things that guys can do offensively and put up numbers. But at the end of the game, if you have to run the ball and you have to stop the run, especially when you get into cold weather or tough elements, those are things that matter the most. And we didn't do those well last year, guys. And that was what we were going to hang our hat on this year was, can we stop the run and can we run the ball? And we were going to do that come hell or high water.
You've done it brilliantly, SEC champions again, and I know you won't care about this, but once you get to New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl, it's either Georgia against the future Florida coach or Georgia against Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. So we got some storylines too, Kirby, so we'll look forward to it. Congratulations. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
He joins us right now. Ryan, thanks for being with us, and congratulations on a terrific season. I know last night was a disappointment. You guys were able to use the loss last year, albeit very different circumstances, understood, but it really brought out your very best football of the season. What do you think you can take from coming up a little short last night that will propel you into the playoff?
Well, yeah, just met with the team here, after the selection, and talked to them about how this is important. When you come after a loss like this, you got to identify what the issues are and get them fixed. And we're disappointed, but we're not going to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get back to work. We're excited about going down to the Cotton Bowl and seeing what happens, with this game.
Coach, what is that process like for you guys now? You mentioned you had a meeting today. Not knowing who you're playing in the next game, what do you do in the next week or so to get ready to prepare to sort of learn from what happened last night?
Well, I think we got to come up for air a little bit, just physically, mentally, and emotionally. For the guys who have played a lot of reps, the guys who haven't, we'll get them some work, but then also keep our edge. I think that's important. Just looking back on last year, sort of how we were in the playoffs and maybe some of the other teams that were in the playoffs, like keeping our edge is going to be critical here. So practice will be very, very important in our preparation over the next month.
Coach, it's Greg McElroy. Been amazed at how you guys have brought Julian Sayin along. I mean, from what you asked him to do early and just how he has progressed. And man, I mean, it's like textbook and quarterback development. You guys and your staff have done a remarkable job. Got hit a couple times last night. Got a little uncomfortable a couple times last night. How do you kind of get him now feeling a little more comfortable going forward so he can avoid those hits and hopefully continue to play at the level he played at in the first 12 games of the year?
Yeah, no, I thought he competed last night. I know it didn't go exactly the way he wanted it to or any of us wanted to, but I think we all will. And so everybody involved in the passing game. It's not just the quarterback. But I did think he competed. He had a good look in his eye. He still had composure like he has in every game. And so now, his focus will be moving forward.
As you, Ryan, as you look ahead to this now, Brian Hartline's going to move on to be a head coach. Anything that you'll do in terms of organizational structure, preparation, heading into the playoff from an offensive standpoint that might be a little different, given that he's going to have other responsibilities as well?
Well, I think when you have this much time to prepare, it's a little bit different. You're a little bit in a different routine, more time to get organized. So, he's still going to call plays, but we'll be involved with everybody on the offensive side, looking to make sure that we put the best plays in the game plan and then be able to call them efficiently and put our guys in a situation to be successful. So we had a chance to look at everything that we've done this year, figure out what we've done well, what we haven't done well, what we need to improve on, and what we need to do game plan-wise, schematically against our opponent. So I guess the only difference is really, we're going to have a little bit more time, but it's still going to come down to fundamentals. And that's what we'll make sure we're working on over here over the next month.
All right, New Year's Eve, 7:30 Eastern Time. The quest for the repeat for the Buckeyes starts against the winner of the Miami-Texas A&M game. Ryan, thanks for being with us. Wish you the best. Joey McGuire has done a spectacular job in leading the Red Raiders not only to the playoff, but to a bye where they will start playing the Capital One Orange Bowl on New Year's Day. Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire is with us now. Joey, congratulations. First of all, how would you describe what it's like to see this fulfilled? You guys invested in the program. You got the players you want. You pulled it together, and now you're Big 12 champions, and you got to buy in the playoff.
Yeah, first, thanks for having me. It was incredible. I mean, the atmosphere last night at AT&T and how many Red Raiders were there, and just I got so many messages throughout the week of what a big deal it was for so many Red Raiders, and it was pretty emotional for a lot of people last night.
Yeah, my high school center was on the sideline, Coach. Bryce Buford was losing his mind. He sent me a picture crying at the end. They even showed a picture of you showing some emotion, some tears shed there at the end. So knowing that you've lived in that state, you've been a part of that state, part of the fabric of the high school football coaching family, to lead a team to their first Big 12 title game, what did that mean to you personally, Coach?
It was incredible and really satisfying. We've had a lot of people all year long talk about the money we've spent and, how this team is, mercenaries almost. But whenever you walk into this building and you see how much they care about each other and how hard they play for each other, and it just shows, and that this is a really special team. And last night for me, that was pretty incredible. That stadium as a whole, that's my 14th game I've coached in as a head coach, first as a college head coach. And to win the Big 12 there was pretty special.
Coach, congratulations on your season. Congratulations in the game. Yesterday, you guys have looked amazing. And it feels like watching your team play, the confidence, the way the defense is just flying around. How have you guys got to the point that you're at as far as the way the defense is playing? It's just been crazy.
Yeah, Shill Wood is an incredible coordinator, and his defensive coaches are doing such a great job. We have a lot of talent. We invested in, bringing back Jacob Rodriguez. We invested in the D-line. I think that's been the big part of where we've been able to change is changing up front. And the one thing about those guys, we talk about it all the time. Your resume is the tape. And whenever you turn on the tape, you're going to watch it with your team. How hard you play is you're showing how much you care about each other. And those guys were really talented, but they play extremely hard, and they do fly around.
How much have you been able to watch Oregon or James Madison?
Really not a lot with James Madison. Oregon, a couple of different times, whenever we would play a night game and maybe they were on, or maybe we played a early 11 o'clock kick and they were on. Have a lot of respect for both of those head coaches. They are studs. I mean, it's great to see what those guys are doing. We played Oregon our second year here. It was a great game. We had the lead in the fourth quarter, and they beat us at the end. And it's going to be interesting how that game goes. You never know because we play a weird-shaped ball. It bounces in so many different ways. But I have a feeling going into Oregon – that's going to be a really tough test. And so we'll be ready for either one, but I'm fired up. I'm fired up. We have the bye. It's going to give us a chance to get healthy, and it gives us a chance to come into that quarterfinals healthy and really fast.
And probably give Jacob Rodriguez and several other guys a little time to pick up a few awards along the way. Joey, congratulations on a great season. Look forward to seeing your team play in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
Man, thank you so much. Wreck 'em.
Golding joins us now as a first run as the head coach of the Rebels. Pete, what has it been like for you taking over as the full-time head coach after Lane Kiffin departed?
Yeah, obviously, it happened on Sunday, and so with signing day coming Wednesday, there was a retention of the staff component, some of those guys transitioning there, and obviously trying to get some of them to stay here in that transition, and then turning that page with signing period being on Wednesday. Wasn't a major concern on the defensive side of the ball because a lot of those relationships were obviously already built. But turning that page, to the offensive recruits and talking to their parents, about what it looks like going forward and what's the plan for right now and finishing the season out the right way. So, that was my main focus getting through Wednesday. And then obviously after that, back to recruiting some coaches and trying to get this thing ready to roll for our players to finish just the right way.
Coach, it's been a wild dynamic, and I couldn't be happier for you. You're the right man for the job. I know you'll galvanize the room, but the dynamic involving Charlie Weis is unique. He was gone, and now he's back, and he's calling plays, and of course he's been massive in the development of Trinidad Chambliss and what you guys have done offensively. So what went into that decision, and how do you anticipate the offense reacting?
Yeah, I think, what happened on Sunday, some of those guys wanted to give themselves the opportunity after the season to be able to, hey, am I going to coach at LSU or am I going to coach at Ole Miss, based on what's best for me and my family at that time. There was never any indecision with Charlie, when he left on Sunday that, hey, I'm 1,000% coaching in the game for the players. And I just want to give myself the opportunity after this season concludes, right, to whether I want to coach at LSU, obviously with Coach Kiffin, or come back to Ole Miss and continue to be the offensive coordinator. So there was never any indecision whether he was going to coach in the game or not. And that's for the players. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with Kiff, right? That was for the players to finish what he started. So we were never nervous at all. Obviously, that being a public statement was the concern before the committee was going to meet on that Tuesday. But, he gave us our word to Keith and I on Sunday. Look, I don't know what will happen with all this, but I can promise you one thing. I'm going to be there for the players to coach the playoffs, and we're going to finish what we start. So there was no concern.
Coach, with everything you guys have had going on, is it helpful to you to play a team in Tulane that you've already played once this season, so you sort of know what you're dealing with and they're familiar to you, even though it's tough to beat the same team twice in one season?
Yeah, I think it's good and bad. I think it really doesn't matter who we play. Obviously, there's a comfort zone from a scheme standpoint and things that you've worked on prior to this. And there's some plans in place that you had that didn't come up in the game that you're a little bit ahead. But, we also know Coach Sumrall has done an unbelievable job. They're very well coached. They were a major concern for me going into the game. Obviously, we created some turnovers in the game, and it kind of went our way. But, the biggest thing is refocusing these kids. This is not then. And this is a really good football team that's playing really well right now. And we got to have good plans in place in every phase of the ball. And we got to get our kids locked in and focused to be able to prepare the right way and to practice really well to be able to play our best football game. And I think, that's the one thing, having been in the playoffs in Division II, 1AA, and in the SEC, it's about getting hot at the right time. And can our guys edit their behavior and be able to focus on the right things and prepare the right way and want to keep on playing? And I truly believe that, in the playoff run, it's the team that wants to continue to play by preparing the right way and practicing the right way to be able to play our best game. So I think we're in a good space.
All right, no pressure or anything, Pete, but the last time I remember a guy taking over as a permanent head coach was Steve Fisher at Michigan. They just won the national championship. So other than that, good luck. So thanks for being with us.
That's
man.
right. Put your money on it.
All right. Pete Golding, head
awesome.
coach.
Appreciate you guys.
Team the Hurricanes will face the Aggies of Texas A&M. Mike Elko, head coach at A&M, joins us now. So, Mike, this is a really difficult part of the bracket. I guess you're in the playoff. Everybody's good. I get that. But you opened against a team that many believed early in the season was the best team in the country, and then Ohio State's waiting. What did you think when you saw where you landed on the bracket?
Yeah, first of all, just excitement, to get playoff football at College Station, to know that we're hosting a game in Kyle Field. Once we figured out we were in and we were a host, and at that point it was kind of like, we'll play whoever they're going to bring here. Obviously, a ton of respect for this Miami program. Saw them when I was at Duke, extremely talented football team, and I'm sure they'll be fired up to prove that they belong to be in with all the rhetoric around it. And so, we'll have our hands full in a couple weeks, but it'll be exciting to host a game.
Coach, I had a chance early in this season. I do a podcast with Herb Street, and we had Marcel Reed on. And what an amazing young man. My first time talking to him. Talk about what kind of quarterback he is and what kind of leader he's been for you guys this season.
Yeah, I think it starts with what you said. Just what an amazing young man. And I think he's really grown into the leader of our offense. And I think it all starts there. And then obviously his development through the offseason into this year is a huge reason why we're 11-1 and we're in the spot that we're in. I think he's a dynamic dual threat kid, but he's really grown as a pocket passer. And his ability to create explosive plays with his arm has really, I think, changed our ability to play on offense. And so he's done it both ways. We go kind of as he goes, and I think he's embraced that challenge and has really led us in a lot of ways this year.
Coach, it's Greg McElroy, man. What a tremendous year. It's been so fun to watch your team. You guys have improved with the wide receiver play. The defensive line can completely take over the game, and the offensive line's a veteran-laden unit. Feels like you have all the pieces to make a run. When you put this roster together, is this what you envisioned? Being here, playing at home, playing for a bye, playing for an SEC championship. I think if the stars align for you, there's no reason why you can't make a run and maybe win this whole dang thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is the vision when I came to College Station. I think when my family decided to move out here 2 years ago, this is what we believe Texas A&M football could be and should be about. A team that's constantly in this conversation about hosting games, getting buys, being in the playoff year in and year out. And, now obviously we've got a stage to go out and show again that we belong there. And we're a little bit the new kid on the block. And so I think it's an exciting opportunity for our program to do something that we haven't done before and play playoff football.
Mike, we congratulate you. I wish you the best. Can't wait to see that game, Miami and Texas A&M. That is a highlight at noon Eastern time in Kyle Field. Look forward to seeing you down there.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming, and I'm sure the 12th man will be rocking. It'll be a great environment.
I imagine there will be a lot of people ready to say howdy. So howdy.
For sure.
Mike, thanks a lot. Mike Elko, head coach at Texas A&M, joining us. They'll open against Miami. Chick-fil-A moves on the field. And here's a dude who has plenty of moves on the field. What a freshman receiver, Malachi Toney from Miami, averaging nearly 81 yards per game receiving. That's the second most by any player in the country who has not dropped a ball all year. Extraordinary hands. They can use him in trick plays. Got a good arm, a little quarterback or a lot of quarterback in high school. And the head coach of the Hurricanes, Mario Cristobal, is with us now. Mario, it was hotly contested, a lot of debate. You guys didn't play. Notre Dame didn't play. And the order flipped today. What was it like for you waiting to see what was going to happen?
Well, I would say first, we did play Notre Dame. So
no,
watching today, of course, has some anxiety that comes with it. Okay. But, there's always, a little bit of, just waiting around and a little bit of anxiety. But overall, we felt really confident. We felt confident because as long as everybody just kind of abided by the criteria, that we would be in a good place. And thankfully, that was the case. And now we have this awesome opportunity.
It's been fun to watch your group this year. You had a bit of a mid-season swoon, but man, did you come out the other way, playing at a ridiculously high level. And I think when people haven't understood about y'all, you've had like 7 guys that were starters that were lost at some point during the season for multiple games to injury, and that might have led to some inconsistencies. But it feels like you're coming out the other side playing the best ball of the season. What have you seen from the resilience of your group and the way they really took the fight to the opponent in November?
Yes, sir. After, in the middle of the season, when we got banged up, we weren't playing at a high level, to our highest level, I should say. But no one ever made an excuse. We just played a lot of young guys. We ended up actually starting 4 offensive freshmen the last time we took the field along beside Carson and behind him. And our team just got better and better and better to the point where by the end of this season, those last 4 weeks, the data is, that of a team that's playing at a top 5 level in just about every single category. So a lot of resilience, a lot of tremendous mental and physical toughness, and a tremendous just dedication and commitment to doing it the right way.
Coach, you guys go get Carson back from Georgia, a guy that's played a lot of football, won a lot of football games. He comes in. What has his leadership meant to your team and the way he's played, especially in the last few games? He seems like he's been back on fire.
Yes, sir. He certainly has. He's probably the most misunderstood person I've ever been around. Since the day he got to campus, and even though he couldn't participate, He was an absolute elite leader. He was always engaged with his teammates. He found ways to get around them and make them better. And even though he couldn't throw a football, he took part in just about every other aspect of practice, all walkthroughs, the run game, protection checks. He quickly established himself as a guy that was respected because his level of football acumen and also his level of commitment.
Mario, how much have you had the opportunity to see Texas A&M and what you'll be facing in that opening playoff game?
Rece, they're an excellent football team. They really don't have any weaknesses. They're big, they're fast, they're explosive. They have playmakers all over the field. I know that they do some incredible work on third down, really exotic, but they play with a lot of power up front. They knock people around really well, and if you watch them on the perimeter, again, they can hurt you on both sides. They can play man, they can play zone, and on the offensive side, they have so many guys that can run by you, run through you. Just a team that is a very complete football team and one we're looking forward to playing.
Mario, congratulations. I know there were some anxious moments over the last few weeks. Look forward to seeing you guys take on the Aggies in College Station. We appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Rece. Appreciate you.
All right, Mario Cristobal.
You want this, you got that. No